There are moments in life when you finally get tired of feeling stressed, tired of overthinking, tired of reacting to every little thing. That's when change begins, and for me, it started with 5 simple habits. 5 habits that took only 1 week to transform how I think, how I feel, and how I live. These habits are inspired by Stoic philosophy, simple, practical, and powerful. The first habit was focusing only on what I can control. I stopped wasting energy on things I could not change, people's opinions, past mistakes, or things that might happen in the future. Instead, I focused on my attitude, my actions, and the effort I bring every day. This one shift brought instant peace. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you free your mind, and your life becomes lighter. Focusing only on what you can control is one of the most powerful habits you can develop, because most of the stress people carry in their lives comes from trying to manage things that were never in their control to begin with. When you finally understand this, something inside you shifts. You begin to breathe differently. You start to think differently. Life becomes simpler, calmer, and much more clear. Stoic philosophy teaches that your power exists only in your own actions, your own choices, and your own mindset. Everything else is outside your hands. And yet, most of us spend our days worrying about opinions, fearing outcomes, replaying old mistakes, and imagining future problems that may never happen. This habit traps the mind and drains the soul. The moment you separate what you can control from what you cannot, your inner world becomes lighter. You start noticing how much energy you were wasting on things that were not your responsibility. You realize how often you were trying to change people, fix situations, or force things to go your way. When you stop doing this, you take your power back. You begin to understand that your true strength is not in controlling the world, but in controlling how you move through it. This shift builds emotional strength, mental clarity, and an unshakable sense of calm. Imagine waking up and deciding you will not allow outside situations to disturb your peace. You choose to focus on your attitude, your effort, your reactions. You cannot control the weather, but you can control your mood. You cannot control other people's behavior, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control what happened yesterday, but you can control the actions you take today. This mindset frees you from unnecessary suffering. Instead of fighting life, you begin flowing with it. Instead of resisting reality, you learn to work with it. Instead of complaining, you start adapting. This is real strength. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady and powerful. When you train your mind to focus only on what is yours to control, daily life changes. Someone criticizes you, but you stay calm because you focus on your response, not their opinion. A plan fails, but you stay patient because you focus on your effort, not the result. The future feels uncertain, but you stay grounded because you focus on the present moment, not what might go wrong. You begin to see how peaceful life becomes when you stop fighting battles you cannot win. Your mind becomes clearer. Your emotions become lighter. You waste less energy. You make better decisions. And the people around you begin to sense your strength, because true power is felt in silence, control, and presence. This habit also teaches humility. You start accepting that you are not the center of everything. The world does not run on your timeline. People will not always act the way you want. Life will not always follow your plans. But this acceptance makes you wiser, not weaker. It helps you stay stable in moments of chaos. It helps you stay balanced when life becomes unpredictable. It helps you stay patient when things take longer than expected. This mindset builds a calm, grounded version of you. Someone who responds instead of reacts. Someone who adjusts instead of panics. Someone who keeps moving forward instead of freezing in fear. And slowly, you notice that life becomes more peaceful, not because everything around you changed, but because you changed the way you deal with everything around you. By mastering your inner world, you learn to live with more clarity, more confidence, and more control over yourself, and that is where real freedom begins. Starting your mornings with silence and intention is one of the simplest ways to change your entire day, because the first moments after you wake up decide the direction of your mind. Most people open their eyes and immediately jump into noise. They check their phones, read messages, scroll social media, and let the world rush into their mind before they even take their first breath. This creates panic, stress, and confusion without them realizing it. The mind becomes scattered before the day even begins, and everything feels heavier than it needs to be. But when you choose silence, everything shifts. Silence creates space, and in that space you regain your control. In those quiet moments, you remind yourself that you are in charge of your day, not the world outside. You give your mind a chance to wake up slowly, naturally, without pressure. You breathe deeply. You feel your thoughts settle. You feel your emotions soften. You feel your mind becoming clear. This silence acts like a shield, protecting you from the chaos that might come later. It helps you enter the day with strength instead of stress, with clarity instead of confusion. It becomes a small habit that creates a big difference. When you start your mornings with intention, you set the tone for how you want to live. Intention means choosing your mindset before the world chooses it for you. You ask yourself simple questions. What kind of person do I want to be today? What energy do I want to carry? How do I want to respond to challenges? These questions guide your day more than you realize. When you decide early, you gain control over the hours ahead. You are no longer reacting, you are leading. You are no longer drifting, you are moving with purpose. Silence and intention also help you separate real problems from imagined ones. In the morning, your mind is fresh and your thoughts are cleaner. You can see what matters and what does not. You understand what deserves your attention and what is better to let go. This clarity protects your mental energy. It prevents you from wasting time on things that add nothing to your life. You start seeing how many worries are unnecessary and how many thoughts are just noise. With intention, you learn to choose your thoughts instead of letting them choose you. The Stoics believed that the morning is a training ground for the mind. If you begin strong, you stay strong. If you begin chaotic, your whole day becomes chaotic. A calm morning builds a calm life. Even a few minutes of silence strengthens you from the inside. It helps you face problems with patience. It helps you stay grounded when someone tries to provoke you. It helps you think clearly when decisions need to be made. It helps you remind yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. And the best part is that this habit costs nothing. No tools, no rituals, no complexity. Just silence, breath, and awareness. Over time, this habit becomes a meeting with yourself. It becomes a moment you look forward to. A moment where the world feels still and you feel present. It teaches you that you do not need noise to feel alive. You do not need distractions to feel awake. Silence itself becomes strength. Intention becomes direction. And your morning becomes the place where you build the mindset that carries you through the rest of your day. Letting go of emotional reactions is one of the most powerful habits you can develop because most of the pain we feel does not come from the events themselves, but from how we react to them. Every time someone says something rude, every time a situation does not go our way, every time life feels unfair, we have a choice. We can either react immediately, letting anger, frustration, or fear take over, or we can pause, observe, and respond with control. Stoic philosophy teaches that our emotions do not have to control us. We are not victims of what happens outside. We are in charge of how we process it. This habit changes the way you experience every situation. When you start pausing before reacting, life feels lighter. You notice how many times you were giving away your power to things that had no right to it. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and before, you might have shouted or clenched your fists. Now, you take a breath, remind yourself that anger does not help, and continue calmly. Someone criticizes your work, and instead of reacting defensively, you reflect, choose whether the feedback has value. You realize that most emotional reactions are automatic and do not serve you, but they have been habits for so long that you did not notice them. By noticing and letting go, you regain control of your life. This habit also teaches patience. Life is full of situations that are irritating, unfair, or disappointing. When you stop reacting impulsively, you create a space between the stimulus and your response. That space allows you to think clearly, act intentionally, and avoid making mistakes you might regret later. The more you practice this, the stronger your mind becomes. You begin to feel calm even in the middle of chaos. You begin to feel stable even when others around you are emotional. This is not weakness, it is strength. It is the strength to remain composed when everything seems to demand that you react. Letting go of emotional reactions does not mean suppressing your feelings. It does not mean pretending that everything is fine when it is not. It means observing your emotions without letting them take control. You notice anger, frustration, or sadness, but you do not allow them to dictate your actions. You respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. You learn that emotions are natural, but unchecked emotions are destructive. The Stoics practiced this daily because they understood that a clear mind makes better decisions, experiences less suffering, and handles challenges with more grace. Over time, this habit creates resilience. When life throws unexpected problems, you face them without panic. When people try to provoke you, their words lose power. When challenges feel overwhelming, you remain focused on solutions instead of being trapped in worry. Your relationships improve because you no longer escalate conflicts unnecessarily. Your mental energy is preserved because you do not waste it on pointless anger or frustration. You notice a sense of peace growing inside, a calm that is not dependent on external circumstances. You begin to understand that true power is in self-control, not in controlling others. Practicing this habit requires mindfulness and repetition. It requires you to notice your impulses, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this reaction helpful? Will it serve me? The answer is often no. Most reactions are automatic, conditioned by past experiences, habits, and fears. By choosing not to react, you break old patterns and create a new way of living. You start seeing life differently. You start experiencing freedom from unnecessary suffering. You start living with more clarity, more strength, and more peace. This habit, practiced daily, reshapes the mind and transforms the way you interact with the world. Writing down your thoughts every night is a simple habit that can change the way you see yourself and the world. Most people go to bed with their minds full of noise. They replay the day's events, think about what went wrong, worry about what might happen tomorrow, and carry unfinished thoughts into sleep. This mental clutter makes it hard to rest, hard to reflect, and hard to grow. When you take a few minutes each night to write, you give your mind a way to organize itself. You create clarity, insight, and understanding that cannot come from thinking alone. Stoic philosophy teaches that the unexamined mind drifts in chaos, but a mind that reflects is a mind that grows stronger. The habit begins simply. You can ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? What could I improve? What did I learn? These questions may seem small, but they are powerful. By writing down what went well, you focus on your strengths, your effort, and the choices you made that served you. By noting what could improve, you identify patterns and habits that might be holding you back. By writing what you learned, you turn everyday experiences into lessons. You start seeing every success, failure, and challenge as an opportunity for growth. This practice shifts your mindset from judgment to learning, from regret to understanding. Reflection through writing also helps control your emotions. When something frustrated or upset you during the day, putting it on paper allows you to see it clearly. You notice your reactions, your triggers, and the choices you made. Often, the act of writing itself reduces the intensity of emotions. You see the situation with distance, like observing it from outside yourself. This perspective creates calm and prevents you from carrying emotional baggage into the next day. It is a tool for mental clarity, emotional control, and personal growth all at once. Another benefit of this habit is accountability. When you write nightly, you create a record of your actions, thoughts, and progress. Over time, you can look back and see patterns you never noticed before. You can see how often you reacted in certain ways, how often you stayed calm, how often you followed through on your intentions, and how often you fell short. This awareness is powerful because it allows you to make conscious choices instead of repeating old habits unconsciously. You begin to shape the person you want to be by observing who you are now. This habit also encourages gratitude and perspective. Writing down moments that brought even small joy helps you appreciate life more. You notice the small victories and simple pleasures that are easy to overlook. Gratitude written down has a way of embedding itself in your mind, reminding you that life contains value even on difficult days. Reflection also helps you see challenges as temporary and lessons as opportunities. You stop feeling like life happens to you and start seeing that you are participating in your own growth. Over time, nightly writing strengthens self-awareness, focus, and discipline. It trains your mind to pause, to observe, and to think critically about your own life. It transforms ordinary days into meaningful experiences. You start noticing improvement in how you respond to situations, how you interact with people, and how you manage your emotions. It builds inner strength because you understand yourself better, which is the foundation of true freedom. Stoics believe that knowledge of self is knowledge of life, and by reflecting through writing, you practice that knowledge every day. This habit, repeated consistently, creates clarity, calm, and continuous personal growth, making you more intentional with your actions, more aware of your patterns, and more empowered in how you navigate the world. Practicing gratitude for the present moment is a habit that can completely shift the way you experience life, because most people are rarely fully aware of the present. They spend their days thinking about the past or worrying about the future, missing the reality of what is happening right now. Gratitude helps you pause and notice the small, often overlooked blessings that already exist in your life. Stoic philosophy teaches that happiness and peace are not found in external things, but in the way we perceive and appreciate what we have. When you practice gratitude consistently, your mind begins to see life differently, and even ordinary moments start to feel extraordinary. Gratitude begins with awareness. You notice small things: the warmth of the sun on your face, the feeling of air filling your lungs, the quiet of a peaceful room, the sound of birds in the morning, or the kindness of someone around you. These simple moments are always available, but we often ignore them because we are distracted by our thoughts. When you take the time to appreciate these small things, your mind shifts from a state of lack to a state of abundance. You start to see that life is not only about what is missing or what went wrong, but also about the little things that make life meaningful. Gratitude trains the mind to focus on value instead of loss. Practicing gratitude also strengthens emotional resilience. When life becomes challenging or when problems arise, your mind naturally gravitates toward frustration or worry. But if you are in the habit of noticing what you are thankful for, you can balance negative thoughts with positive ones. You begin to see that even in difficult times, there are aspects of life that are stable, safe, or comforting. Gratitude does not erase problems, but it gives you a foundation of strength to face them without being overwhelmed. It reminds you that life contains good even when it feels hard. Another aspect of gratitude is its effect on perspective. When you appreciate what is happening right now, you stop constantly chasing what is next or wishing for something else. You see that happiness does not always come from achieving more or having more, but from valuing what you already have. This perspective creates contentment and inner peace. It reduces anxiety, jealousy, and comparison, because your mind is focused on appreciation rather than scarcity. You start living fully in the moment, which is where life actually exists, rather than being trapped in past regrets or future fears. Gratitude also improves your relationships. When you notice and appreciate the people around you, you treat them with more kindness and respect. You begin to value the support, love, and presence of others instead of taking it for granted. This creates deeper connections, trust, and harmony in your interactions. Stoics believe that humans are social beings, and gratitude strengthens the bonds that make life more meaningful. By practicing gratitude daily, you not only enhance your inner peace, but also the quality of your external world. Finally, gratitude helps you see life as a gift rather than a burden. Every day becomes an opportunity to experience, learn, and grow. The little things, when noticed and appreciated, add up to a profound sense of joy and satisfaction. Gratitude trains your mind to find richness in simplicity, to see abundance where others see emptiness, and to remain calm and centered regardless of external circumstances. It is a habit that transforms ordinary life into something extraordinary, simply by shifting the way you perceive the present moment. This practice, when done consistently, strengthens your mind, nurtures your spirit, and builds a foundation of lasting peace and contentment. Protecting your energy by avoiding unnecessary drama is one of the most important habits you can develop. because most of the stress and frustration in life comes from engaging in conflicts or situations that add no value to your growth. People often get drawn into arguments, gossip, or tension that they cannot control, and that drains their mental and emotional energy. Stoic philosophy teaches that your peace of mind is more valuable than proving a point or reacting to every situation. By choosing where to invest your energy, you gain control over your emotions, your time, and your life. Learning to avoid unnecessary drama does not mean ignoring responsibilities, but it does mean recognizing what truly deserves your attention and what does not. When you stop engaging in needless drama, you notice a significant change in your daily life. Situations that once made you angry or anxious no longer disturb you. You learn to pause before reacting, to observe instead of getting pulled into someone else's chaos. Many people react automatically because they feel obligated or because they are addicted to emotional stimulation. By choosing not to participate, you break that cycle. You begin to experience a sense of calm that comes from knowing you are not giving your energy to things outside your control. This habit builds resilience, focus, and clarity because your mind is no longer cluttered by unnecessary emotional noise. Avoiding drama also teaches you boundaries. You learn to recognize situations and people that consistently drain your energy and to set limits without feeling guilty. You stop tolerating negativity, manipulation, or toxic behavior simply because others expect a reaction from you. This does not mean you are cold or indifferent. It means you are wise and intentional. Protecting your energy is an act of self-respect. It is acknowledging that your time and mental peace are valuable, and that not everything deserves your attention. Over time, this mindset allows you to focus on what really matters: your goals, your growth, and your well-being. Another benefit of this habit is emotional stability. When you avoid unnecessary drama, you are less likely to be reactive or impulsive. You see conflicts from a distance, and you choose whether to engage or not. You stop giving away your happiness to circumstances beyond your control. Stoics believed that external events are neutral, and that only our judgments about them cause suffering. By disengaging from drama, you practice this principle daily. You train your mind to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. This leads to more rational decisions, healthier relationships, and a calmer life. This habit also increases focus and productivity. When you are not caught up in arguments, gossip, or emotional chaos, your mind has more space to concentrate on meaningful work, creative projects, or personal growth. Energy that was once wasted on negativity is redirected toward progress and achievement. You begin to feel empowered because you are in control of your mental resources. You start to notice how much time and energy were being lost in unnecessary drama before, and you feel grateful for the clarity and strength gained by letting it go. Finally, avoiding unnecessary drama helps you cultivate peace and contentment. Life is already full of challenges, responsibilities, and stress. By refusing to add avoidable conflict to your day, you create a space for calm and joy. You become more mindful, present, and grounded. You notice the difference in how you feel emotionally and mentally. Protecting your energy is a form of self-discipline that pays off daily. It is a habit that strengthens your mind, preserves your peace, and allows you to live a more intentional and meaningful life, free from distractions that do not serve your growth or happiness. Accepting discomfort as a path to strength and growth is one of the most important habits you can develop, because most people spend their lives trying to avoid pain, struggle, and challenge. From a young age, we are taught that discomfort is bad, that it should be avoided, and that happiness comes from ease and comfort. But Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite: true strength, resilience, and wisdom are built when we face difficulty rather than run from it. Discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a signal that growth is happening. Every challenge, every moment of unease, every situation that pushes you outside your comfort zone is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more capable. When you begin to accept discomfort instead of avoiding it, your perspective on life changes. Small obstacles stop feeling overwhelming because you understand that life naturally includes difficulty. You no longer panic when things get tough because you know that challenges are part of the journey. This mindset reduces fear and stress because you stop resisting what is inevitable. Life will not always be easy, but your ability to handle difficulty will grow as you embrace discomfort rather than fight it. Accepting discomfort allows you to move through with more courage, patience, and resilience. Facing discomfort also strengthens mental toughness. Every time you willingly endure a difficult situation, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you believed. You learn to tolerate uncertainty, manage stress, and remain calm in moments of pressure. Small acts, like finishing a challenging workout, having a difficult conversation, or confronting a fear, create cumulative strength over time. These experiences train your mind to stay grounded and focused even when external circumstances are unpleasant. The more you practice, the more confident you become in your ability to handle any challenge that arises. Another benefit of embracing discomfort is emotional growth. Many emotional struggles come from avoiding pain or seeking immediate comfort. When you accept discomfort, you learn to sit with your emotions without being controlled by them. You become aware of your reactions, fears, and desires, and you gain the ability to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. Stoics believe that emotional mastery is the key to inner peace, and accepting discomfort is a daily exercise in building that mastery. You start noticing how much of life is wasted, trying to escape temporary pain instead of learning from it. This habit also enhances personal growth and achievement. Most meaningful accomplishments require effort, persistence, and endurance. Success rarely comes without challenge, and comfort alone rarely leads to progress. When you embrace discomfort, you are willing to put in the work, face setbacks, and overcome obstacles that others avoid. You develop patience, discipline, and determination. You start to see discomfort as a teacher rather than an enemy, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to improve yourself, your skills, and your mindset. Finally, accepting discomfort cultivates gratitude and perspective. When you willingly face challenges, you appreciate moments of ease, joy, and rest more deeply. You understand that life is balanced between struggle and relief, challenge and reward. This awareness builds humility, wisdom, and resilience, because you learn to navigate both hardship and comfort with grace. Over time, discomfort becomes less frightening and more familiar, and your mind becomes stronger, calmer, and more capable of handling whatever life brings. This habit transforms the way you experience challenges, turning pain and struggle into tools for growth, self-discipline, and lasting inner strength. Keeping your goals simple and your actions consistent is one of the most effective habits for achieving success and maintaining peace of mind. Most people make life harder than it needs to be by overcomplicating their goals or expecting massive results overnight. They set unrealistic expectations, plan too many things at once, or jump from one idea to another. Stoic philosophy teaches that clarity and simplicity are more powerful than complexity. By focusing on a few meaningful goals and taking consistent action toward them every day, you build momentum, confidence, and progress that compounds over time. Small, steady steps toward simple goals often lead to greater results than scattered efforts toward too many things. When you simplify your goals, you reduce stress. When you know exactly what matters, your mind is not pulled in multiple directions. You stop wasting energy on tasks that do not contribute to your purpose or your growth. Simple goals allow you to prioritize what is essential and let go of what is irrelevant. This focus increases efficiency and clarity because your decisions are guided by your main objectives. You know what to do and what not to do, and this knowledge reduces confusion, distraction, and mental clutter. Consistency is the companion to simplicity. A simple goal without consistent effort is just a wish. True progress comes from repeated, deliberate action every day. Even when motivation is low or obstacles appear, consistent effort keeps you moving forward. Stoics believed that discipline is more important than inspiration because consistent habits shape character, build resilience, and produce lasting results. Every small action, repeated daily, adds up to big changes over time. Consistency creates trust in yourself, showing that you can rely on your own actions to create progress and improvement. This habit also teaches patience and long-term thinking. Many people want results immediately and give up when success does not come fast enough. By keeping goals simple and acting consistently, You learn to focus on the process rather than just the outcome. You begin to enjoy the journey of growth, knowing that each small step is meaningful. You understand that life is built on accumulation, not sudden bursts of effort. This perspective reduces frustration and disappointment because you measure progress through effort and consistency, not through instant rewards. Keeping goals simple also enhances focus and decision-making. When your objectives are clear and limited, you make choices more easily. You can quickly determine which actions align with your goals and which do not. You stop wasting time on distractions, temptations, or activities that do not serve your purpose. This focus sharpens your mind, improves efficiency, and increases your sense of control over your life. You begin to notice how much wasted energy comes from overthinking, overplanning, or pursuing too many directions at once. Finally, simple goals and consistent action build confidence and self-trust. Each small success, no matter how minor, reinforces the belief that you are capable of achieving what you set out to do. You develop a sense of mastery over your life and your choices. You see that steady effort is more powerful than occasional bursts of energy. You understand that simplicity and consistency create sustainable progress, reduce stress, and make life more manageable. This habit transforms your approach to growth, achievement, and discipline, teaching you that a clear focus and daily action can produce extraordinary results, even when the world around you feels chaotic or overwhelming. Letting go of the need to impress or please others, one of the most freeing habits you can develop, because most people spend their lives seeking approval from others instead of living authentically. From a young age, society teaches us that our value depends on how others see us, and we constantly measure ourselves against expectations, standards, and judgments that are not our own. Stoic philosophy reminds us that external opinions are outside our control, and therefore, they should not dictate our actions, choices, or self-worth. When you stop trying to impress everyone and start focusing on your own principles, values, and growth, life becomes lighter, more peaceful, and more purposeful. People who seek approval often make decisions based on fear of judgment, rejection, or criticism. They act in ways that do not reflect who they truly are, sacrificing authenticity for acceptance. This habit leads to stress, frustration, and a constant feeling of inadequacy, because you can never control what others think. No matter how much effort you put into pleasing people, there will always be someone who disagrees or disapproves. By letting go of this need, you free yourself from the endless cycle of seeking validation from the outside and start finding validation from within. When you focus less on impressing others, you gain clarity in your actions. Your decisions are no longer influenced by what people expect, but by what aligns with your values and goals. You become more intentional, more disciplined, and more confident in your choices. This habit teaches self-respect because you are prioritizing your principles over external approval. You learn that your worth is not determined by others but by your integrity, effort, and character. The Stoics believed that a life guided by reason and virtue is far more meaningful than one guided by praise or recognition. Letting go of the need to please others also reduces emotional stress. When you stop worrying about criticism or judgment, you no longer experience constant anxiety about how others perceive you. You gain freedom to act, speak, and live according to your own standards. This does not mean you become selfish or uncaring. It means you care more about your growth, your actions, and your peace of mind than about the approval of people who do not truly know you. You start to focus on what you can control, your choices, effort, and attitude, rather than what is outside your control, other people's opinions. This habit strengthens relationships as well. When you stop pretending to be someone you are not, your connections become more authentic. People respect honesty, integrity, and genuineness more than flattery or superficial charm. By being true to yourself, you attract people who align with your values and purpose, rather than chasing attention from those who will never be satisfied. Your interactions become simpler, deeper, and more meaningful because they are based on reality rather than performance. Over time, letting go of the need to impress others builds inner confidence and self-trust. You begin to rely on your own judgment, knowing that your actions are aligned with your principles. You stop comparing yourself to others, Stop worrying about judgment, and stop sacrificing your peace for approval. You notice how much energy was wasted trying to meet external expectations and how much stronger you feel when you focus on your own growth. This habit transforms your mindset, freeing your mind from fear, your heart from anxiety, and your life from unnecessary pressure. It teaches you that true freedom, confidence, and peace come from living authentically and valuing yourself above the opinions of others. Speaking less, observing more, and staying mindful is a habit that can completely transform the way you interact with the world, because most people speak too much without thinking and rarely take the time to truly observe. We are often eager to share our opinions, tell our stories, or react immediately to situations, and in doing so, we give away energy, create unnecessary conflict, and miss what is actually happening around us. Stoic philosophy teaches that wisdom comes from understanding, not from speaking, and that self-control and mindfulness are more powerful than words. When you practice speaking less and observing more, you develop clarity, insight, and inner calm that improves every aspect of life. Observing more means paying attention to your surroundings, to people, and to your own thoughts without rushing to judgment or reaction. It means noticing details you would usually overlook, listening carefully to others, and understanding situations before acting. Observation allows you to respond with thoughtfulness instead of reacting impulsively. Most conflicts and mistakes happen because people speak or act before fully understanding what is happening. By observing first, you give yourself time to process, reflect, and choose the best action. This creates stronger relationships, better decisions, and a calmer mind. Speaking less also has practical benefits. When you limit your words gain power. People listen more carefully when you do speak, because you are not constantly filling the space with noise. You communicate more clearly, more intentionally, and more persuasively. Silence is not emptiness, it is strength. It gives your mind room to think, reflect, and notice things that are missed when you are distracted by constant talking. Stoics believe that restraint and self-discipline in speech reflect inner strength, and practicing this habit helps you develop both. Mindfulness is the third part of this habit. It is the practice of being fully present in the moment, aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings. Mindfulness helps you avoid automatic reactions, emotional outbursts, and wasted energy. When you are mindful, you notice your impulses, observe your emotions, and choose how to act intentionally. You become aware of the patterns in your own mind and the triggers in your environment. This awareness builds control, reduces stress, and strengthens your ability to handle challenges calmly. This habit also improves self-discipline and emotional intelligence. By speaking less, you avoid unnecessary arguments and misunderstandings. By observing more, you gain empathy, understanding, and perspective. By practicing mindfulness, you gain awareness of your own strengths and weaknesses. These three practices together make you more grounded, resilient, and capable of navigating life with clarity and purpose. You notice how often energy is wasted on meaningless conversations, impulsive reactions, or distractions, and you begin redirecting that energy toward growth, focus, and calm. Over time, speaking less, observing more, and staying mindful reshapes your daily life. You start noticing details others miss. You make better decisions because your actions are guided by understanding rather than impulse. You experience fewer conflicts because you choose your words and responses intentionally. You develop inner peace because your mind is less cluttered by overthinking, overreacting, or unnecessary chatter. This habit strengthens your character, sharpens your awareness, and cultivates wisdom, showing that the greatest power often lies not in speaking, but in observing, understanding, and choosing your actions with care. Setting clear boundaries to protect your peace is one of the most important habits you can develop, because most people allow others to dictate their time, energy, and emotions without realizing it. We often say yes to requests, tolerate behavior that bothers us, or overcommit ourselves because we want to avoid conflict, gain approval, or feel needed. Stoic philosophy teaches that our inner peace is more valuable than pleasing others or avoiding discomfort. By setting boundaries, you take control of your life, protect your energy, and ensure that your focus remains on what truly matters. Boundaries are not about being selfish. They are about being responsible for your own well-being. When you begin to set boundaries, you start by recognizing what is acceptable and what is not. This requires honesty with yourself about your limits, what you can handle, what drains you, and what conflicts with your values. Many people ignore their limits because they fear being judged or rejected. They allow situations and people to take more than they give. By clearly defining your limits, you reclaim your time and energy. You stop overextending yourself, and you stop allowing others to dictate how you feel. This clarity creates a sense of security and control that strengthens your mind and your confidence. Boundaries also reduce stress and prevent burnout. When you constantly say yes to everything or tolerate behavior that harms you, your mind and body suffer. Emotional exhaustion builds, frustration grows, and inner peace is lost. By saying no when necessary, you protect yourself from unnecessary suffering. You conserve your energy for meaningful activities, relationships, and personal growth. Stoics believe that peace of mind is the ultimate goal, and boundaries are essential tools to achieve and maintain that peace. They allow you to navigate life without being pulled into unnecessary chaos or conflict. Another benefit of setting boundaries is that it teaches self-respect. When you honor your limits, you send a message to yourself and others that your well-being matters. You no longer accept disrespect, manipulation, or overreach from others. You start valuing your own needs and priorities, which strengthens your character and confidence. This self-respect is essential for personal growth because it allows you to focus on what truly matters rather than being distracted by demands, expectations, or negativity from others. People naturally respect those who respect themselves, and boundaries communicate this clearly. Boundaries also improve relationships. Clear limits help others understand what is acceptable and what is not, preventing misunderstandings and conflict. Relationships built on mutual respect and understanding are stronger and more meaningful. By protecting your peace, you are not only helping yourself, but also creating healthier interactions with others. People learn to value your time, effort, and presence because you have communicated what is important and what is not. This clarity strengthens trust and encourages balance in your connections. Over time, setting boundaries becomes a habit that transforms your life. You feel more in control, less stressed, and more focused on what matters most. You develop a calm, confident mindset because you know you are not sacrificing your well-being for unnecessary reasons. Boundaries are not rigid walls but flexible guides that protect your peace while allowing you to engage meaningfully with the world. This habit teaches that peace, focus, and self-respect are not optional, they are essential. By consistently maintaining boundaries, you strengthen your inner stability, preserve your energy, and cultivate a life guided by clarity, purpose, and calm rather than by external demands and chaos. Treating every setback as a lesson, not a failure, is a habit that can completely change your perspective on life, because most people see setbacks as signs that they are not good enough, that life is unfair, or that they have failed. This mindset creates frustration, disappointment, and fear of trying again. Stoic philosophy teaches that events themselves are neutral, and that what matters is how we interpret them. Every challenge, obstacle, or mistake is an opportunity to learn, grow, and become stronger. When you begin to view setbacks as lessons, instead of failures, your mindset shifts from fear to curiosity, from frustration to growth, and from defeat to resilience. When you adopt this habit, the first change you notice is how differently you react to difficulties. Instead of panicking or blaming yourself when something goes wrong, you pause and ask, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? What insight does this situation offer? This simple change in perspective transforms negative experiences into valuable guidance for the future. You start to see challenges as teachers rather than enemies, and this makes facing difficulties less stressful and more empowering. Setbacks no longer feel like personal attacks or proof of inadequacy. They become natural parts of the journey toward growth and success. Viewing setbacks as lessons also strengthens mental resilience. Life is unpredictable, and problems will always arise, but when you treat them as opportunities to learn, you no longer fear them. You face challenges with patience, adaptability, and calmness because you trust that each experience will provide insight and understanding. This mindset reduces anxiety, frustration, and self-doubt, and it gives you the confidence to keep moving forward, even when circumstances are difficult. You realize that your response to setbacks, not the setbacks themselves, defines your strength and progress. Another benefit of this habit is that it encourages self-reflection. Each setback becomes a mirror, showing you where improvements are needed, which habits or decisions led to the outcome, and how you can adjust for the future. This reflection fosters personal growth because you are actively seeking understanding instead of reacting impulsively. Stoics believe that wisdom comes from examining life and learning from experiences, and treating setbacks as lessons is a daily practice of this principle. You start to see your life as a continuous process of learning and improvement, rather than a series of successes and failures. This habit also cultivates patience and long-term thinking. When you stop fearing setbacks, you become more willing to take risks, try new things, and pursue goals without being paralyzed by the possibility of failure. You understand that progress is rarely linear, and that setbacks are natural steps along the path. Each challenge teaches persistence, adaptability, and problem-solving skills. You begin to value effort and growth over immediate results or perfection, which creates a more sustainable and fulfilling approach to life. Over time, treating setbacks as lessons builds confidence, humility, and perspective. You become more grounded because you understand that life is a mix of challenges and victories, and that neither defines your worth. You become more compassionate toward yourself and others because you recognize that everyone faces difficulties, and that mistakes are opportunities for learning. This habit transforms how you handle adversity, turning obstacles into opportunities, mistakes into insights, and challenges into stepping stones. It strengthens your mind, nurtures resilience, and creates a mindset where growth is constant. Fear of failure is reduced, and setbacks are embraced as essential parts of the journey toward becoming a stronger, wiser, and more capable person. Spending time alone to understand yourself better is one of the most powerful habits you can develop, because most people go through life without ever truly knowing themselves. We get caught up in routines, distractions, social expectations, and constant noise, and in the process, we lose touch with our own thoughts, feelings, and desires. Stoic philosophy teaches that self-knowledge is the foundation of a good life. When you take time alone to reflect, meditate, or simply observe your own mind, you gain clarity, perspective, and a deeper understanding of who you are. This habit strengthens your mind, your decisions, and your ability to navigate life with purpose and calm. When you spend time alone, you create space to listen to yourself without external influence. Many people fill their lives with other people's opinions, advice, and judgments, which can cloud their own thinking. Alone, you can hear your own voice clearly. You can notice what truly matters to you, what you value, and what brings you peace or discomfort. This awareness allows you to make choices that align with your own principles instead of reacting to societal pressures or trying to meet others' expectations. Self-understanding leads to authenticity, and living authentically reduces stress and increases satisfaction in life. Time alone also helps you observe your thoughts and emotions without being overwhelmed by them. You notice patterns in your thinking, triggers that create negative emotions, and habits that either help or hinder your growth. By observing yourself in silence, you learn to control impulses rather than being controlled by them. You gain emotional intelligence, resilience, and the ability to respond to challenges thoughtfully. Stoics believe that self-mastery is essential for peace of mind, and alone time provides the training ground for this mastery. You become aware of your weaknesses without judgment, and your strengths without arrogance, creating balance and perspective. Another benefit of spending time alone is that it cultivates creativity and problem solving. When your mind is not distracted by constant noise or obligations, you can think more clearly, reflect on challenges, and generate ideas. Many of the greatest insights come during moments of solitude, because your mind is free to explore, connect ideas, and notice details that are often missed in the rush of daily life. Solitude allows you to plan, strategize, and make better decisions, all while strengthening focus and mental clarity. You begin to see that being alone is not loneliness, but a powerful tool for personal growth. Spending time alone also builds independence and confidence. When you are comfortable with your own company, you no longer rely on others for validation, entertainment, or emotional stability. You learn to enjoy your own thoughts, pursue your own goals, and cultivate inner peace. This independence makes relationships healthier because you are not dependent on others for happiness or fulfillment. You become more self-reliant, calm, and balanced, which allows you to engage with the world intentionally rather than out of fear, need, or distraction. Over time, making solitude a habit transforms your life. You develop a deep understanding of yourself, your values, and your purpose. You gain clarity in your decisions, emotional resilience, and a sense of inner strength that does not depend on external circumstances. You become more present, focused, and mindful in your daily life. Stoic philosophy teaches that the mind trained in solitude is strong, free, and capable of facing challenges without fear. This habit nurtures wisdom, self-awareness, and inner peace, showing that the greatest strength often comes not from external achievements, but from the quiet work of understanding yourself and cultivating your own mind. Living in the present instead of worrying about the future is one of the most powerful habits you can develop because most people spend their lives trapped between regrets about the past and fears about what might happen tomorrow. This constant focus on what has already happened or what could happen creates stress, anxiety, and a feeling of being out of control. Stoic philosophy teaches that the present moment is the only time you truly have, and that peace, clarity, and effectiveness come from fully engaging with it. When you learn to live in the present, you stop wasting energy on things you cannot change, and you start using your energy on what you can influence right now. When you focus on the present, you notice life more deeply. Small moments, which are often overlooked, begin to feel meaningful. You notice the sensations around you, the sounds, the sights, and the little details that make each day unique. Instead of rushing through life distracted by worries, you begin to experience it fully. Eating, walking, working, or speaking with someone becomes richer because your mind is engaged with what is happening instead of lost in thoughts of past mistakes or future concerns. Living in the present allows you to enjoy life as it is, rather than constantly comparing it to what was or what might be. This habit also reduces anxiety and fear. When your mind constantly projects into the future, it often imagines worst-case scenarios that may never happen. This imagined stress can feel real and can prevent you from acting effectively in the moment. By bringing your attention back to the present, you see what is actually happening, not what might happen. You focus on what you can do right now, instead of worrying about outcomes you cannot control. This creates calm, clarity, and a sense of agency because your attention is directed toward action rather than fear. Living in the present also improves focus and productivity. When your mind is not distracted by past regrets or future worries, you can give full attention to the task at hand. Decisions become clearer because you respond to what is real instead of being influenced by imagined possibilities. Actions become more intentional and effective because you are grounded in reality. Stoics believe that a focused mind is a strong mind, and training yourself to stay present builds mental discipline, sharpness, and resilience. Another benefit of living in the present is emotional balance. When you stop dwelling on past mistakes or worrying about future events, your emotions become more stable. You feel less frustration, regret, and fear, and you can respond to challenges calmly and wisely. You learn that life cannot be controlled, but your reactions in each moment can be, and this understanding brings peace. You start to see that happiness does not come from anticipating the future or changing the past, but from fully engaging with the now and making the best of each moment. Practicing presence also strengthens relationships. When you are truly present with someone, you listen, understand, and connect more deeply. People sense when your attention is genuine, and your interactions become more meaningful and authentic. You stop missing important details in conversations, and you respond with empathy and clarity rather than distraction or assumption. This improves trust, communication, and connection, showing that being present is not only valuable for yourself, but also for those around you. Over time, making living in the present a habit transforms your experience of life. You become calmer, more focused, and more capable of handling challenges. You experience joy and meaning in everyday moments that others might overlook. You develop clarity, resilience, and emotional stability. You start to understand that the only time you ever truly have is now, and that how you use the present shapes your growth, your peace, and your life. This habit aligns with Stoic wisdom by emphasizing control over your own mind, letting go of what is beyond your power, and fully embracing the only moment where real action, real learning, and real life exist.